Hey, it's Isla, and you are listening to the Female Entrepreneurs Network podcasts. And here are some facts that will drive you to tears. Small business owners spend about 68% of their time on day to day tasks that could be outsourced. The second one is that CEOs who delegate well generate 33% more revenue than those who try to handle everything themselves. You see where I'm going with this? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Ayla, and for over a decade I've been dedicated to helping entrepreneurs thrive. Welcome to the Female Entrepreneurs Network podcast. Here we focus on personal growth so your business can grow alongside you. Discover how to optimize your business, elevate your mindset, and truly feel and act like a CEO. This is more than just business, it's about transforming your entire entrepreneurial journey. Join me on this path to unlock your fullest potential. Hello, my darling. Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. I hope you're doing very well. I am still in the thick of it. It's never ending. There was the flu, and then there was the stomach flu, and then there was the other kid with the stomach flu, and then the husband with the sprained ankle didn't take enough rest, so he's still pretty much an invalid. So that's not helping either. The dogs are going nuts. It's very cold in the castle, and there's a lot of complaining going around. I'm really trying to keep my head up, and it's working. It's working a bit. In the day-to-day, like when I'm in the trenches of it all, very often I just stomp around a bit, to be honest. But overall, I'm trying to keep to the vision, trying to keep my future self in mind and stay in a high vibe, basically. That's what it boils down to. And this week, what I set as a goal was to put myself before my clients. And that entailed that I switched some things around so I could take the first 2 days of this week for myself. I switched all my appointments that I had on Tuesday to Thursday so I could have Monday and Tuesday all to myself, which was very much needed because the stomach bugged kid was up all night, all weekend, and so Mama is feeling tired. And I'm very glad with the decision I made to put myself before my clients. It's a very healthy decision to make. I actually just recorded another podcast that will have aired by now about values. One of my values that I have for my company is balance, and this aligns perfectly with that value. So overall, I'm very happy with how it's all turning out. And I hope that you are doing things that make you happy as well. As you heard from the introduction, today we are talking about outsourcing, delegation, and, well, basically mompreneurs who are trying to do everything themselves and burning themselves out in the process. Burnout is real. I know that you hear it a lot. For me, there are two sides to the coin. I think it's a bit of a fashion word, the feeling burned out. It gets thrown around a lot. And then there is also having a burnout, not being burnt out, but having a burnout. I had a burnout in 2015. A friend of mine is currently recovering from a burnout for more than a year now. And I think that having a burnout is very serious because it shuts you down completely. You can't function at all. There's no way you can go grocery shopping. There's no way you can be in an environment with a lot of sensory input, sounds, lights, etc. And I think that being burned out by your business is different because you can still function. Otherwise, it's just that you're very tired in general by doing too much, or you're tired by the way your business functions, by processes that are dragging on, stuff like that can make you feel burned out, but you don't actually have a burnout. I don't know if this is scientifically underlined what I'm saying right now, but research by the World Health Organization shows that work-related burnout is a recognized occupational phenomenon and affects productivity, creativity, and decision making. And so whether you have a burnout or if you're feeling burned out, I think, yeah, productivity, creativity, decision making are absolutely affected. The whole reason we get there is that we think it's faster to keep doing everything ourselves instead of spending time on training someone. I think that's maybe the most heard complaint from my clients that I hear about outsourcing things to others is, you know what, I can just do it myself. Much easier. Actually, today I did this myself, making the mistake, classic mistake. I was working on my website and I'm pretty good at doing technical stuff, building websites. I've done it for a decade now, starting with my first blog. So I'm not I can't write programming. How do you say this? I can write code. Sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. I can't write code. But if I have a WordPress site and a builder, I can build you a website very fast. I've done it for myself multiple times. I've done it for others, done it for clients. I can do it very fast. I think someone else would probably be able to do it faster. But then I would have to go back and forth on what I wanted to say, where I wanted to say, what kind of colors I wanted to say, to show, etc., etc. And so I do it myself. And because I think it's faster to keep doing it myself instead of spending the time to explain it to someone else. This goes for so many things, for so many people, whether it's your financial administration, the way you've organized it. If you want to hand that over to someone else, you just go, yeah, but I organized it so well. I don't think they can keep up with it, etc. Content creation is a big one, of course. Yeah, but they don't know exactly what I want to say to my clients. You keep doing it yourself because you think it's faster. There's also the fear of losing the control over the quality and therefore the results of your business. Let me see if I can think of an example for that one. No, that's not the word. Customer service, customer relation service. What's the word for that? I'm lacking words all over. Can I buy a vowel? If you have someone respond to the emails from your clients, then very often the fear is that someone who helps you with that, because they aren't you, they aren't the owner of the company, and so they hold less value for your company than you would yourself. And so people are afraid that someone responding to clients would be less respectful or take them complaints less serious, stuff like that. You fear the loss of the control over the quality and therefore hesitate to outsource it. And then I think that the third one that really gets in our way when we try to outsource to others is perfectionism. It always comes back to perfectionism. So that's, of course, also a bit of a fear for the loss of quality. You want to have the last word is basically what it boils down to in this case. So instead of wanting to go back and forth with someone, you just, you want to keep it to yourself because you know how it's done best. I have an episode on perfectionism and how you can prevent it and eradicate it. I'll link it in the show notes. So take a moment. What if you didn't have to be the one who did everything in your company? What if the secret to building a successful business wasn't working harder, but was working smarter? You've heard it before. You're hearing it here again. Imagine being able to step back, to take a breather and to focus on the parts of your business that truly light you up. It's not about doing it all. It's about doing what matters the most to you. So if you are looking at the two facts that I named in the beginning, where you could say that 68% of our time is spent on tasks that could be outsourced, That means that you're only effectively using your time 30% of the time. And imagine what you could do if you would flip that around. So you would use 70% of your time in a way that lights you up and is more effective and is leading to better results. Like, that's such a big switch. The other one, where CEOs who delegate well generate 33% more revenue, it means basically that delegating tasks isn't costing you money. It's actually gaining you revenue. And this is something that is overlooked so often. When you say outsourcing, people immediately just have like negative dollar signs in their eyes. They just go, yeah, I really want to outsource, but I don't have the funds right now. I don't want to invest in that. It would be just faster if I can do it myself. But let's face it, you're always trading something. You're either trading time or you're trading money. If you're trading money to outsource a task, that's just money. If you're trading time, that's something you can never get back. If delegation is actually generating you 33% more revenue, then that's an easy choice. Delegation isn't about losing control. It's about reclaiming control. What? Yes. By letting go of the tasks that drain your energy, you're creating space. You're creating space for growth, for creativity, and the impact that you're meant to be having. So this isn't about taking a step back. It's actually about stepping up into the role of the visionary leader for your business and for your life. Isn't that wonderful? So if you were to spend 70% of your time on tasks that are actually in your zone of genius and that also generate revenue, and on top of that, you are actually using part of that revenue to outsource more and you would generate 33% more revenue, why wouldn't you outsource? It sounds a bit like, mompreneur math, but it's true. The Harvard Business Review found that people who overwork are less productive than those who work fewer, more focused hours. And that is only possible if you are not trying to do everything all at once, all of the time. So when I start working with a new client, I take her through my framework, and this is something that we'll go through in my vision-driven blueprint program. Obviously, it's one of the first things we do. We're looking at what are you actually doing? What are you spending your time on? And how much of that can be delegated? I switch between outsourced and delegated a lot. It's an umbrella, like you're outsourcing something and then you can delegate tasks to the person you're outsourcing to. This can be anyone. This can be the VA you have for your social media. This can be the person you have for your administration. This can be your nanny that you're delegating, cleaning the dishwasher to. It can be anything. You can delegate tasks to your significant other, to your kids. Can you delegate to your dog? Maybe you can delegate to your dog. Pick up the socks. You can try to teach him. Don't know if it would, work, but you could try. Outsourcing is usually the person you are delegating your tasks to. As I said, I'm switching a bit between the two. I think that when you started your business, you didn't imagine spending your time in the weeds of tasks that someone else could handle. You started your business because you had a vision, and I think that your vision is worth protecting. Delegation isn't just something that's practical, it's a declaration of love, if you will, towards your time, towards your energy, and towards your dreams, more importantly. Your dreams are way too valuable to waste on anything less than your best work, And that's exactly what I help my clients to uncover in the framework that I'm using, how to step into your power and make your time work for you and not on stupid tasks that you could think about. The 70-30%, flip it around. Use that 70% of your time to work on tasks that are in your zone of genius. I think I'm going to do an episode on your zone of genius because it's such a valuable, valuable thing to keep in mind. What is your zone of genius? Because to me, and that's something that always, it keeps blowing my mind over and over when I think about this. Everyone has a zone of genius, and things that are very obvious for you can be mind-boggling for someone else. I have systems. I work a lot with systems. I'm very organized, which is why as I used to work as a financial VA because, well, doing the finances is basically using a lot of systems, and I can do that very well. And then I would work with someone and who would look at those systems and just go, "Whoa, I wouldn't have thought of that." And that blows my mind because I look at it and I just go, how can you not have thought of that? And this goes for everyone. Everyone has a zone of genius that someone else will hear and will go, "What? How can you be so good at that?" This goes for outsourcing. You outsource something to someone else's zone of genius. So not only is it freeing up your time because you're not doing a task that's draining your energy, you're actually giving it to someone who's very good at what they do. At least you should make sure that they are, and therefore can do it even faster. There's just benefits all over. If you do this, you will have more time for high impact activities yourself. This can lead to more revenue, but this can also lead to more time with your family. High impact can be what you make of it. It can be revenue, but it can be something that's important to you, which aligns with your values. You will have less tiredness because you're not trying to do it all in both the business and at home as well. In the framework that I'm working with, in the vision-driven blueprint, we're actually not only looking at your business, we're also looking at the household. We're tackling it all because this is your life and you need to direct it in such a way that it will bring you so much joy and you will create pockets of time here and there. And yes, we can look at only your business, but I think it's very valuable to look at your private life as well, see how you can improve that, see if there are systems there, see if there's stuff that you can delegate there. And then in the end, you'll feel less drained. You'll have more energy to be with that family. It's just important. When you start delegating and outsourcing, you have a whole slew of things that actually will get better. There is more time for family, practically, but there's also more headspace to actually enjoy that time. There are clearer and more focused activities in your business, which is resulting in more joy in your work. There's so many layers to it. Here's the truth. When you delegate, you don't just gain time, you gain freedom. And that's freedom you get to spend with your family. You have freedom to spend on mornings with your family, freedom to step into your work with fresh ideas, and freedom to go to bed at night without carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's not about doing less, it's about living more, and that is where the magic happens. If this episode sparked something in you, share it with a fellow entrepreneur who's feeling the weight of it all and who maybe, can delegate a bit more. If you are ready to step into your role as a vision-driven CEO and not just someone who's doing all the things all the time, join my upcoming group program. I'll put a link in the show notes so you can get on a priority list for that. Until then, grab my free balance toolkit and start creating balance in your life. Figure out what to delegate. That's if you want to know what you can delegate, the balance toolkit is the way to start. You can unlock your time, you can unlock your vision, and finally your joy. Let's make it happen. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Female Entrepreneurs Network podcast. I hope you loved what you heard today. And if you did, it would mean a world to me if you could leave a review. Because believe it or not, reviews on